All right. Good evening, everybody, once again. Thank you and welcome to Ace Creative Academy. We're going to be taking a beautiful and amazing session on design thinking. Now, like I said earlier on at the beginning of this training, design thinking is basically an approach to solving problem as a creative and tech professional. Design thinking is an approach for problem solving as a creative and tech professionals. For those of us that are just joining, try as much as possible to obey the normal webinar etiquette by muting your mic so that we can have a smooth journey. This is a two-part training session, and in this first session, I'm going to be teaching you on design thinking. Then as a community, as a creative community, we are going to be basically having what we call gets together where community members can open their videos and can get to meet each other and have one or two conversations as community members. So get your pen and barrel as we get started concerning design thinking. Now, one thing you need to know as a creative and tech professional is that whenever you have a brief, or whenever you have a particular project, or whenever you have a particular animation, or whenever you have a video to edit, or you have a particular problem, one of the most productive approach in which you solve that problem is what we call design thinking. As managers, design thinking is a creative approach to solving problems that is users centric. Is an approach to solving problem that is users centric. It's what we call an advanced framework of solving complex problem and breaking it into simple modules that would help you to be able to interpret what is in the mind of the user and evaluate the problem and be able to translate it to viable solutions that the user can use. Now, don't forget that as graphic artists, as web designers, as animators, as digital marketing professionals, one of our primary responsibilities is problem solving. Graphic artists' responsibilities is to interpret the ideas in the mind of a particular client or the mind of a particular customer into various artwork and designs. Another thing a graphic artist does basically is what we call marketing communication solutions, whereby you are running designs that are going to be used in various campaigns, marketing campaigns or various marketing campaigns, assets. Same thing with a web designer. Your responsibilities, you are solving what we call a marketing communication problem, where your responsibility is to create a landing page or a website or an e-commerce where people can basically go to trade or see information about the company. Our basic responsibility as creative and tech professionals is literally solving problems. So that is why design thinking is one of the most important approach you should take as a designer, an animator, a digital marketing professional to solve the basic problem you have. Hence why this is important. Now, a lot of you might say that, Mr. Demola, we want to get to know you more, to know basically what you do, some of the things, who you are basically, and some of your experiences, especially as regards the topic I'm taking. My name is Demola Adeogun. I'm a graphic artist. I'm a web designer. I'm a digital marketing professional, UI UX professional, front-end software developer, and as you can see, I'm an instructor. I have over 4 years of experience in rendering digital solutions to our various clients. I'm also the founder of Ace Creative Community, a community that drive relevant conversations or train creative and tech professionals to be relevant in the creative and tech ecosystems, meaning that we train them and not just train them, we have a community that trains them, and we also build them up and set them out to be relevant in the creative and tech ecosystem. Beyond that, we have a physical academy in Lagos, Nigeria, which is the western part of Africa, where we have physical training. We have a physical community on Telegram, and we have a physical community on WhatsApp, basically, where we interact as community members and we basically solve creative and tech professionals problem. If you have a coding problem, just go to our WhatsApp group, drop it. If you're having a software problem, go there, drop it. There's always a creative and tech professional that is there for you. So based on my vast years of experience in the creative and tech businesses, working as an entrepreneur, working as a business owner, I've even had the privilege of even working for various organizations. Recently, I even worked for an agency. I realized that one of the basic approach or one of the basic solutions to solving basic problem as a creative and tech professional is design thinking. Now, based on my introduction, you can see that I've introduced myself not just as a creative professional, I'm also a tech professional. In fact, my introduction into our industry, the creative and tech industry, is first tech. I first started as a software developer at the age of 16. where I learned how to code in C++, HTML, and Java before I now became a graphic artist, and I understand the concept of branding. So design thinking is very important and circumstance for you to know as a creative, professional. It's very important. Design thinking is the problem of solving problem creatively. In fact, project managers or in project management, they adopt the use of design thinking in project management for problem solving. Unlike traditional thinking, design thinking is a bit user-centric. In product design, it is used to solve problem like a creative professional. So that is to say that they adapt creative thinking, and they're using such methodology in solving problem in project management, in marketing, and other areas and fields. So that's why, as a creative professional, you should understand what design thinking is all about. Are you with me? Right, I haven't said that. So the question right now is that what is design thinking? Design thinking is described as a problem or solving problem that focus on creating prototype to test the viability of this solution. Hope you've written that down. Design thinking is described as the process or the problems, a problem-solving approach that focuses on understanding the need of a user. I mean that design thinking focus on understanding the need of a user, explore possible solution, and create a prototype to test the viability of this solution. Now, take notes. I've mentioned three basic things. Number one is a process of problem solving that focuses on the user. Secondly, it explores various problem-solving solutions. Then thirdly, it creates what we call a prototype to test the viability of such solutions. So as a graphic artist, if you are given a logo brief, the first thing you need to understand is not, bam, I'm giving a logo brief to design a logo for an e-commerce company, or I'm giving a logo brief to design a logo for a real estate agent. The first responsibility is not for you to delve in and just pick up Adobe Illustrator or pick up CorelDRAW and just start designing, or for those that use online tools like Canva and just start designing. Though I know some people are going to be like, Mr. Demola, why did you mention that? Hey, it works. Some people use it. Your first approach is not just to open your graphic softwares. No, your first approach is, how do I solve this problem meeting the user's need? Then the second thing is exploring various multiple solutions. After doing that, the third approach is creating what we call prototypes or testing to really validate your solution. Same thing with web design. The first approach basically is not for you to just go to your HTMLs and just start coding. No, your first approach is not even about you sketching and start visualizing various wireframes for your design. No. Same thing with product design. You're UI UX, right? You're actually designing a user's interface, or and also understand the user's experience for a particular application. You don't just delve into Figma, InVision, or Adobe InDesign, InVision, or Adobe. You don't just delve into InVision. I'm trying to remember the Adobe product. Adobe XD, Adobe XD, and just Figma, and just start your prototyping. No, you have to have various steps. Use the design thinking approach. Now, hence why we're emphasizing on this. It is user-centric. So I define it again for those of us that are writing. Design thinking is described as a problem-solving approach that focuses on understanding the needs of users, exploring possible solution, and creating prototypes to test the viability of such solutions. Please, if you have any questions during the course of my teaching, please, you can drop it in the chat section. I'm going to address everything as we go on. Are you an animator? Because I saw an animator, especially one of the animators in the academy, just popping, in which you have an animation to design. You get an animation brief. You don't just come up with animations basically by delving into Premiere Pro or After Effects and just start animating. No, there are different approaches. Design thinking is what we call centric. What does the user want? What is the need? What is the brief all about? What is the vision of the company? What is the objective of the company? What problem does the company want to use these products that they're trying to launch? This social media campaign that they're trying to launch? What solutions are they trying to solve? What copyrights would basically work for this particular solution they're trying to get. What is their demography? What is their target audience? This is what would form what you delve into when you want to create your animation. Before you even go into your storyboarding, before you even start working on your copywriting, the most important thing is to take what we call a design thinking approach to solve the problem. So for those writing, I define again that design thinking is described as a problem-solving approach that focuses on understanding the needs of users, exploring their possible solution, and creating prototype to test the viability of such solution. So when you understand the user, you now explore various solutions. A graphic artist creating different logo prototype, different logo samples. Then you now create what we call various prototype. We're going to be delving into that shortly. Traditional problem-solving approach often focus basically on coming up with the solution. It doesn't consider the user that much. And as designers, this is what we do. Why? Because in the community, I hear a lot of designers come to me and say, Mr. Demola, we submit our designs to our clients and they don't pick any of the designs. The question is, did you ask the right question before you started the brief? Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Those are some of the questions I ask most young designers. Did you ask the right question? So most of us, we apply what we call the traditional problem-solving approach, whereby once you get the brief, and you get to what I'm saying right now, you don't ask the right questions. You just come up with what you think is the right design, what you think is the right animation based on your experience for the clients. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? It's usually a one-solution approach. You understand that this is your problem. This is what I feel is the solution. But that's usually not always the best way to approach problem solving for your clients and customers. So hence why you need to have a basic understanding of design thinking. What are the benefits of design thinking? Design thinking improves your skills or your method of problem solving. It helps you create what we call fresh concepts. Hope you're writing. These are the benefits. It helps you consider several angles to solving problems. So for example, you have a website, you are considering what we call the 80-20 principles, in which when people come to the website, as voluminous as your website is, people are only focused on just 20% of what your website does. Hallelujah. Are you getting me? Do you understand what I'm saying right now? When they just get it, they're like, hallelujah, I've seen what I want. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? So you need to understand that. Why do you think that when you go to Google, the only thing you see in Google is search? Why? Because when you see that search, you're like, hallelujah, bingo, this is why I'm here. Do you get what I'm saying right now? Search. Now, Google as a company renders various things. We have Google Forms, we have Google Gmail, we have Google Search, but their primary assignment is search. So one thing it will do for you basically is that design thinking will help you consider various angles to problem solving. It also helps you create what we call a superior design or a superior solution. It also helps you improve ideas and clarity in your expression. So meaning that because you have come across, you have various approaches when you are solving this particular problem, when you are explaining to the clients these various solutions, the clients understand your perspective and understand that you understand the brief, and most likely will pick your solutions. For example, like I said earlier on, I'm going to be showing you an example. I got a brief yesterday from a client who is basically my brother, to work on a particular album art. Now, by the time I showed him the album art, he said, And while he was thinking, I now explained to him the design thinking journey based on the brief he gave me. And immediately he was like, this is perfect. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So it helps you improve your idea clarity of expression. So mean that when you want to express your idea to your clients, because you approach it using a design thinking approach, explaining your idea become very easy. So I'm going to repeat the benefits again. Benefits number 1, it improves your problem solving skills. Benefit number 2, it helps you create fresh concepts. Benefit number 3, it helps you consider challenges from several angles, from different perspectives. Benefit number 4, it helps you improve your idea with clarity, especially in the areas of expression. Benefit number 5, it helps you create what we call superior products. When you approach design thinking, when you approach your design, your animation, your digital marketing using this particular approach, you solve problems better. The reason why I'm exploring various fields is that I know that in this particular call or in this particular meeting, we have graphic artists, animators, video editors, digital marketers, web designers, product designers, front-end developers, back-end developers that are in the community that are here. So I'm trying as much as possible to make this training was all encompassing. Are you a digital marketer that are giving a digital marketing campaign? Don't just say, bam, I'm going to use Facebook advert because you prefer Facebook, or Instagram advert. No, that's not the approach of digital marketing. In design thinking that is user-centric, you first sit down and develop what we call a digital marketing strategy. Are you getting me? And the digital marketing strategy is of 3 stages. The first stage is what we call the business strategy, understanding the vision, the mission, and the objective of the vision of the business and the product that you're selling. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? The second method is what we call customer strategy, understanding the customer. This is for digital marketers. When you understand the customer, and in this segment, it can be split into understanding the demography, understanding what we call the geographical location of the customer, where the target audience is, and understanding what we call the target audience. Then the last one is what we call market strategy. In your market strategy, you are considering what we call the various channels that is applicable for advertising the particular products or the service that the business strategy has already entailed. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Now, the customer strategy would have entailed what the demography, would have entailed what the age, would have entailed the various demography and the location in which they are. Then this will now determine what the channel you will use. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? The design thinking is what we call user-centric. Hello, as a digital marketing professional, if you're selling a bag for ladies, their various channels are different. So in your customer strategy, you would have highlighted that this bag can be is affordable to a women between this particular age range to this particular age range. That is the demography. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Then you also pick the channels based on the particular demography you've set. For example, age 18 to 45. What are the channels, which is the marketing channels that these people visit? For example, for the people between age 35 to 40, they most likely use Instagram, and they most likely use what we call Facebook. But if your demography is between 35 downwards, 16 to 35, you know that you have to explore other options like Snapchat or TikTok. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? So as a creative professional, you don't just delve into, and take note, the creative industry, tech is actually under it. You don't just delve into solutions. It is what we call user-centric. What does your user want? What is the brief all about? What is your client's needs? This would help you determine what solutions that you can basically give to your clients. Design thinking aims to providing what we call innovative solutions that are both practical, creative, and appealing to users. It's focused on creating what we call innovative solutions that are both practical and viable to your user and your customer. It is all about problem solving. That is user-centric, and is focus basically on the users. It's all about emphasize on various solutions. Now, I've spoken about the benefits of design thinking. I've spoken about, as creative professionals, you don't just delve into briefs. You have to sit down and be user-centric in your design thinking. The question right now is that what are the various steps as a creative professional using this design thinking approach that you should take? The first thing you need to do, please hope you're taking notes and you're writing all these things down, is very, very important. If you can take all this approach in your design, you have lower rates of rejections when you do a design. You have lower rates, you have high turnaround when you do your social media campaign. You have lower rates of rejection in your website design. As a creative and tech professionals, I can tell you that because I use this approach a lot, I have 80% success rates when it comes to clients not always accepting my brief. 80%. And you get what I'm trying. I'm trusting 80% is good. Now, 20% are some of those difficult clients that some of us experience. Are you with me? If you've experienced difficult client before, say hello. And if you are new to designs, just bear with me. Come on, let me know that you're with me. If you've experienced some very amazing clients before in your creative journey, can you just say hello? All right, Vivian is smiling that, oh my, Mr. Demola, you have no idea. Okay. So the first approach you should take as a creative professional or tech professional using this design thinking approach or design thinking method of problem solving. Oh, Kev is also saying hello. I'm sure, I pray that we're not going to experience difficult clients in 2023. You can see what I'm saying right now, because man, they can make some projects difficult. But like I said, if you can take this approach that I'm going to be teaching to you today, you're going to be having what we call 80 to 90% turnaround in your deliverables with minimal rejection. I hardly get my project hardly gets rejected. My team members that work work with me, or people that or prototypes that have worked with me before, they know that clients hardly turn down my project. In fact, most times whenever I advise them that this thing you're designing, this is going to be the result. And you get what I'm saying right now. It's always what the result. Why? Because most cases I always tend to understand what the clients. And you get what I'm saying right now. So it's important to take this approach. So the first thing you need to do using this design thinking approach is what we call you first need to do what we call gather data about the user and their environment. They're very important. And I'm going to try and break this design thinking approach across all sectors: graphic design, web development, and the like. So the first thing is to gather your data. So for example, as a graphic artist, you're being given a logo to design. The first thing you need to do is to gather your data. I always tell my students that there are 5 questions you should ask when you're giving a logo brief. I'm going to give you guys this for free, but normally you're supposed to pay for it. The first thing is ask for the vision of the company. If you're giving a logo, so let's say someone comes to me and say, design a logo for a tech business I'm about to start. First, ask her, what is the vision of the company? Number 2, please ask her what is the mission of the company? Very, very important. That's the next thing that we should ask. What is the mission of the company? Very important. That is the next thing you should ask. Just give me a minute. Let me just try and mute this person that whose mic is not muted. Please, whenever you come to this meeting, let's try and mute our mic. Okay, thank you. Let's try to mute our mic. It's going to make my work a bit much more easier here. Please let us try to mute our mic. Let's try to mute our mic. Let's try to mute our mic. All right, thank you very much. So the first thing you need to do is to gather data, which is very, very important about your customer and your client. So I was talking about logo design. So the first thing is that what's the very important, the name of the company. Now, the reason why I use this 5 approach when it comes to logo design is that your logo ideation is usually always from this design. Number 1, the vision. Number 2, the name of the company. Number 3, what is the mission of the company? Very important. Number 4, what is the slogan of the company? Number 5, what is the product and services that the company is rendering? Then number 6, what is the preferred color of the clients? That's what I always ask. The vision, the mission, and you get what I'm saying right now, the product of the company, the preferred color of the clients, and also what's the history of the company. If you look at any global brand that has logos, their logos are always centered around this. It's either centered on the mission, either centered on the vision, either centered on the slogan, either centered on the history of the company, either centered usually always on the preferred color of the client. And the reason I always ask about this is that some clients have some preferred color. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to follow those preferred color. Usually, I always advise clients to give me like 5-6 options. Now, as a graphic artist, that color has moods, has tones, you understand? So from those preferred color, you can now pick the best color that works for the client based on principles of design. We're not going into that today. So first, gather your data. Very, very important. The next step you need to do is to understand what the users want, what's the user's needs, and what are the constraints of the user. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So meaning when you're designing a flyer, what is this flyer trying to solve? What is the need of this flyer? You want to do what we call do a design for a social media campaign for probably those traveling abroad, or for probably those that want to go and study abroad. What is the constraint? What's the objective? What does this flyer want to entail? What's the solution? What's the demography? Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Or you're being asked to do a design for probably a pension scheme. The flyers, the tone you use, the copy you use for those kind of designs, it varies basically. Or you're designing for a law firm. What is the constraints? Understand what your user. It's very, very important. So the first step is to gather data. Remember what I said, gather as many data as possible. As many data as possible. Sit your client down and ask them every possible question you need to ask them concerning the solution you want to solve, and make it clear and precise. The next step, like I said, is that understand what your clients understand that what constraints are they facing currently in their business. Are you getting me now? This marketing campaign, what does it want to solve? You understand what I'm saying right now? How many people are they expecting for their events? What is the demography of people they're expecting for their events? Can I have the previous flyers you have done for your events? If it's a website, I always ask them that, can you share 5, 6, 7 websites 5, 6, 7 websites that catches your fancy of people that do some things that's similarly related to yours. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? These are some of the important questions that you should ask, because most times whenever clients are coming to come and meet you, they already have preconceived mind based on their experience or their environment of how they want the design to look like. I even go as far as when it comes to logo designs, tell clients that send me logo that catches your fancy. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So these are some of the things you need to ask. for your users, because you are trying to what create the ideas from their mind into what physical what reality. Are you getting me now? Now the next thing is, which is the third step, is to generate as many ideas as possible. I know a lot of graphic artists say, "Oh, Mr. Demola, what are you saying? Are you saying we should create multiple logos?" Or web designers will say that, "Are you saying that what we should create multiple versions of landing page?" I know some of us are a bit uncomfortable with that, but the reality is that if you ask the right questions, are you getting what I'm saying right now? When you get to this third step that I'm talking about, that you're supposed to create what multiple solutions, your solutions will actually be minimal. If you ask the right questions, you might not necessarily not have to probably deliver what just 3 solutions or 4 solutions for the clients, or 5 solutions. I know sometimes if you give clients 10 solutions, you get them confused and it delays your delivery process, or they start asking you that what take solution A, add solution B, then take solution C, add it to D. I know that might happen sometimes, but like I said, when you ask the right questions at the beginning of your design thinking process, it's going to basically what shorten your delivery timeline in context of what the kind of what questions that, I mean, it's going to shorten the timeline in context with what the kind of what solutions you are what basically what's going to create. Now the next step of design thinking is what creating what we call what prototype to your solutions, creating what we call a prototype to your solutions. Now for UI UX professionals, you know that this is all about what your wireframing, and you start creating various prototypes. For graphic artists, based on the various questions that you have asked concerning the flyer, concerning the logo design, concerning the brand identity, the colors, the vision of the company, the mission, what they want, the services that they basically render, you'll now be able to sit down with your graphic tool and now start working on what various what prototyping. I'm going to be going in depth into all this shortly, and you can have what we call what rough tested solutions that can basically be what's tested. Now the next step you need to take is what is you need to what test what your problem is very important. You need to what test your problems. Now for web designers or product designers, this is a circle that has to what keep continuing. You need to start making it what very what viable. You need to ensure you have testers that will test it. Don't just design it for yourself. If a child cannot, if your design is not intuitive enough for a child to understand, then there's a problem somewhere. Or for those that are married, for your wife to understand, for those that have girlfriend, for your girlfriend to understand, then there's a problem what somewhere. So your design has to be what very, very intuitive. Now you need to understand that what design thinking first is what we call what a user-centered approach. This means that the solution is more likely to meet what the users needs. Number 2, it's a creative approach, meaning that what you are thinking of what multiple solutions for this particular flyer. So this particular flyer is for students that want to what register for the school. So you've thought about multiple approaches, the demography. You've sat down, you've had what we call what a focus group for the website. You've asked what the right questions. So it's more of what a creative approach. Number 3 is that there are various what alterations for the design. Number 4 is more what collaborative. In design thinking, you get to what talk to what various people, get their ideas concerning design thinking for it. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So this is what very important is user-centric, is a much more creative approach. There are various what alterations to solving what a design thinking problem, and is what we call what's much more what collaborative. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So someone might now say, Mr. Demola, what's the difference between design thinking and traditional thinking? That's what I'm explaining at the moment. Design thinking is what user-centric. Number 2 is more what's creative, because you are thinking of what various approaches. Number 4, design thinking is much more what did I say? There are different what alterations of solutions. And number 5, design thinking is much more collaborative. There's a team that works on it. If you don't have a team, you can get other people's opinion for it. But traditional thinking is just logical, is step-by-step approach. Once you get the brief, just go into work. It's not focused on what the users, and it's a bit what individualistic. Now, a lot of us use this approach, and you get what I'm saying right now. But please, in 2023, you have to not use this approach. So now we're not getting our hands a bit dirty as I round up this session. I'm trying as much as possible to make it as brief as possible. What are the various steps to design thinking? The various things you need to do to design thinking. Please, you need to write it down. So earlier on, I just hovered upon what the steps are to explain what design thinkings are. So the first stage of design thinking is number 1, empathy. Write it down. Empathy. The first stage of design thinking. I've explained various steps for you, various things you need to know how design thinking is user-centric, but these are various stages of design thinking. Now, the first stage is what we call the empathy stage. Write that down. The second stage is what we call the define stage. Now, some of us that are probably taking courses here, you must have heard of these things before, or you've taken online courses, you must have heard of this thing before. But this is me trying to buttress on this approach of problem solving and scale it down into the creative industry and apply it practically to you, so that when you can take this approach, it's going to help you basically in your problem solving this year, so that you can deliver what we call 80 to 90% turnaround time that won't be rejected by your client. Now, the first phase is what we call empathy or empathize. Second is what define. The third is what ideation. The fourth is what prototyping, and the last one is what testing. Now, product designers and UI UX professional, you might have been familiar with some of these things. Empathize. Number two is what define what your ideas. One, empathize. Two is what define your ideas. Three is what ideation. The fourth is what prototyping, and the last is what testing. For anybody that is listening to this, you can probably help me drop all these various stages on the chat. Kev, you can help me do that. I can say you're online. The first is what empathize. The second is what define. The next is what ideate. The fourth is what prototyping, and the final stage is what is testing. The final stage is what is testing. These are the various stages of design thinking. So, what is empathize? Empathize is, which is what I've explained earlier, is basically is a stage of design thinking where you understand your design. Your user. It's the first stage of design thinking where you understand your user. This stage is all about research. Now, when I teach my students, I always emphasize that whenever you're giving a brief, the most important part of your brief is the empathy stage. Is the stage where you do your research. Now, most cases, whenever we give students assignments in the academy, and we tell them that go and design this particular logo, when they come back, and I can always differentiate the student that did a research and the student that didn't do a research from what the person delivered. Are you getting what I'm saying, right? And I can catch students that basically went online to go and plagiarize. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? So your research is key. So in this empathy stage is where you majorly understand your user, and this can be done through the following method. Number one is interview. Number two is survey. Number three is focus group, and number four is observation. So in this empathy stage, you can carry out this stage on using various approaches. The first approach is interview, survey, focus group, or observation. Now, the interview stage is what is majorly being used by we designers, basically, whereby you basically ask questions from your clients. If you want to go a bit more detailed, you can have what we call a survey. Send a Google form to your clients. Now, what I'm trying to do is basically understand the mind of the client. What is the client thinking? And when you're interviewing your clients, ensure that you have what we call your questions listed and very accurate and detailed. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? The reason why you are listing all these questions accurate and detailed and intentional is because you are trying to get every data set needed to solve your problem. I've given you an example of logo designs, the kind of questions you can ask. When it comes to website design, during the question and answer section, I can give you the kind of questions to ask digital marketers, animators. We can have those kind of conversations. The first stage was interview. Ensure that you interview your clients. Most people, especially designers, when you're just giving a brief, you just start designing straight. You believe that you can answer their problems. No, don't go ahead. Interview them. Carry out surveys, even go as far as sometimes have focus groups. What are focus groups? It's just you gathering a group of people and asking them various questions about the designs. A lot of organizations carry this, especially advertising agencies. Whenever a particular product or a particular client comes to meet them, or an organization comes to meet them that they want to launch a particular product, advertising agencies do what we call have focus groups to test those products. What do you think about this product? For example, if probably it's a new pasta that a particular organization wants to bring out, they have focus groups, and I tell them test this particular pasta. What do you think about this flavor? What do you think about this flavor? And in those focus groups, sometimes there's always a glass where someone is behind and is taking notes. And you get what I'm trying. And from the things that even the focus group is saying, they write it down as copies. That's how far advertising agencies goes. And you get what I'm saying right now. As a designer or a freelancer, you can also take this approach. You can have what we call your mini focus group. You can call your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your husbands, or your friends, and ask them ideas about the question. That when you want to, probably you're being asked to do a design for a particular event. What's your thoughts about this event? What's your thoughts about this concert? Why will you go for this concert? If you're given a flyer to pick up this concert, what's the first thing that will catch your fancy about this particular concert? When you know the demography of your clients, you can ask the right people around you as focus group that can solve this particular question. So the empathy stage is what is very important. The second stage is what we call the stage where you define it. Now, in definition is where you basically gather all your observation and your analysis, and you basically will synthesize all the observation that you've highlighted, and you define it in various what we call what keynotes and key points, and you ensure that whatever solutions that you're going to give in this particular definition stage is solved by what has been observed in your empathetic or empathized stage. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So you need to define. Now, a lot of you now be like, oh, Mr. Demola, you're now making our design process what's complex. No, it's not complex. What I'm trying to do is what teach you methodologies that will help you have what we call a high delivery rate where clients will reject your job. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? So you have to consciously or unconsciously do this. Do you understand? And you can shorten this thing in just a phone call. It doesn't necessarily have to you having what we call an over-extensive ways of solving this problem. But this is a better approach of what solving problem. Now, the next stage is what we call an ideation stage. In this stage, designers of design thinking is where you come up with what new solutions to the problem. This stage is where your creativity flows. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Now, for designers, this is where you basically, based on your empathized stage, where you gather all your data, you have what we call mood boards. Are you getting me now? The client has spoken about some particular colors, has spoken about some particular thoughts, has spoken about some particular logos. I'm going to show you some examples based on a design I worked on between yesterday and today. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Actually, I started this morning. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? But I was given the brief yesterday. I brooded over it overnight, and by this morning, I knew what I had to come with. I went from the empathetic stage, which is where I did a rigorous conversation with the clients. Are you getting me now? I now went down to the next stage, which is what we call the ideation stage. That's brooding over. So I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be you spending like day and night. No, it can be shortened based on your clients. If it's an extensive project, meaning a big project whereby you're supposed to brand a particular organization, now that might be a bit bigger. Where the budget for that particular project is bigger, then you can do much more detailed and in-depth work. Are you getting what I'm saying right now? You get. So there are different approaches to solving this problem. The most important thing is that you're trying to solve your user or your client's problem. The day before yesterday, I was given an urgent brief to deliver a particular design. I also use this approach. And in less than 24 hours, my team went to go and deploy the design. And as we speak to you right now, it's being used right now, which is branding a particular studio. So you have to always use this approach. This approach always works. And immediately we delivered it and they saw it, the client was like, Demola, this is exactly what we had in mind. So you have to always use a design thinking approach. It's all about the user. It's not all about you. It's not all about how gifted you are or how talented you are or how good you are in photo manipulation. It's all about you attending to what your users needs. Now, the next stage is or this same stage, which is the ideation stage. You can have two approaches. The first can be brainstorming approach, or the next can be mind mapping approach. Now, in the brainstorming approach is where you probably gather a group of people and you guys brainstorm. And you get what I'm saying right now, concerning the designer. You might not have that luxury of time based on the kind of designer you have, but if you're working in a big advertising agency and probably you guys have clusters, you can gather your clusters together and basically sit down and brainstorm that we have this campaign I want to run. What do you guys think? What's the approach? Or what methodology do you think we use? What do you think based on this brief the client will do? You can get your copywriters and all that to get this done. If you don't have that, you're a freelancer, what you can basically do is go to now this ideation stage for a freelancer, go to various websites. And you get what I'm saying right now. We have Dribbble, we have Behance, we have Pinterest. Look at various people that have carried out similar projects based on your client's brief and create what we call mood boards. It's your own personal brainstorming session. Now, in these mood boards, basically based on your empathy stage, your data gathering stage, you have created mood boards. Now, these mood boards will basically form your rationale. And you get something right now. Will basically form the light bulb that will spark what's in your head. Will basically help you mind map the solutions that you want to get. Do you get me now? Based on the things that you've gotten on the various stages of your design. Now, this next stage is in this same ideation stage is where you now sit down and you now prototype. Now, remember, I said there are different stages of design, which are for those that are just joining in. The first is the empathize stage. The second is the define stage. The next ideation stage. The next, after which prototype stage. Then the next is testing stage. You get me now, and I've started breaking each of the stages down into various modules. I've spoken about the empathize stage. I've gone to define stage. I've spoken about the ideation stage. Now, the next stage I'm going to right now is what we call the prototype stage. Now, this is supposed to be a 2 hours event, and I'm supposed to take this design thinking for the first hour, question and answer session, and our town hall meeting for the second hour. So I'm trying to wrap up as much as possible. Now, in this prototype stage is where you create various prototypes. Are you getting me now? Now you sat down, right, in your brainstorming session. You now sit down and you want to create prototypes. Now, for the graphic artist is when you sit down with Photoshop to design. For the UI UX professional is when you sit down. But before you even sit down to even design, you need to have what we call various prototypes. Now, there are 3 methods in which you can carry out prototypes. The first can be paper prototyping, which a lot of us are used to, graphic artists, whereby you sit down and you sketch your various logos. You understand what I'm saying right now? Now, the second method can be digital prototyping, or then we now go to the physical prototyping. Now, for the paper prototype, which is very key, always ensure that you sketch whatever you want to design. So this helps you mind map the things that you've gotten from the ideation stage. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? Or for a lot of designers, on your Windows tab, you have opened all the tabs of the various mood boards that you've created. I'm just trying to be as practical as possible. But you now sit down and now jot out what's a prototype, a rough sketch, particular visual design, digital design, or flyer design. You say, okay, this is where I'm going to put this, I'm going to put this, is where my display text is going to be, this is where my so it's basically called scamping. Do you get what I'm saying? So you already had that down. You understand? So by the time I go into your main design, your design approach is basically what's faster. Do you understand me now? Then in that prototype, you now come up with various variations. Do you get me now? If it's a logo design, you come up with like 3, 4 samples or 2 samples. You understand? If you understand the client very well, which I do sometimes, you can come with just one design that the client just say, bingo, this works. Or what I say, hallelujah, this is what we're talking about. Do you get what I'm saying right now? So this is actually what's very key approach or method to solving problems. Now, I can go on and on concerning design thinking, but I think I'm going to be stopping here for today. My time is up, right? But I believe that if you can take this various approach in design thinking in your design methodology in solving problems in 2023, you would have less rejection rates in your design. It's very important. You cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. As a designer, our basic problem, whether graphic designer, web designer, animator, or software developer, our basic problem is to ensure that we solve the problem for our clients. If you're also into printing too, you need to also ask the client what they want to do, which particular paper would work for them. What grammage am I supposed to use for them? You understand what I'm saying right now? Do they want to be gloss? Do they want to be matte? If you don't answer this particular question, you get into problems. You understand? You send them the particular prints for them to approve and proofread before it goes live. These are some of the things that would basically help you as much as possible in your design solutions. So now I'm just going to be briefly sharing my screen. Yeah, I'm going to be opening a Photoshop document of a particular design I did for clients, and I'm just going to make it as brief as possible. Why? Because our time is up and we're supposed to go into the town hall meeting for the community. And I'm just going to just show you me using this approach, and I'm going to just I have multiple screens that I work with, and I will try as much as possible to show you some of my mood boards, basically, that I used to create this particular application. All right. So while I do that, do we have any questions so far? Do we have any question? Because like I said, it's a 2 hours event. We've just spent 1 hour. Do we have any questions so far? If you have any questions, just signify by raising up your hand. I would ask you then before we go to the practical session. Any question, please, based on what you've learned so far? Any questions? I want to believe that I'm a great teacher. Everybody understood what I taught. Come on, guys. Do you have any questions? Any question? Do we have any question, please? Any question? All right, so I have a question here. The question is, sometimes clients don't know what they want. How do we get about discovering the best solutions that way. So he's saying that sometimes clients don't know what they want. How do we go about getting the best solutions from the client that way? Basically, like I said earlier on, it's asking questions. Now you have to know the right questions, basically what's to ask your what's clients. Now he's saying that what client don't know what they want. I know client don't know what they want, but when you ask them the right questions, you realize that they know what they want, that they don't know what they want. Sorry for using that tongue twisting answer. So let's say, for example, a client does not know what he wants. So I always start by, what are the kind of logos that catch your fancies? You know, I said earlier on that it's all about asking the right questions. So the client to give me examples of companies. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? Basically, and I'll ask them questions like, in this part, if it's a logo brief, in this particular kind of question, logos, which parts do you like the most? He or she would tell me. Now, when they do that, they're already beginning to tell you what they want. If it's a particular animation or a website, you ask them that leading people that are doing what you are doing in your industry, can you basically highlight for me the websites that you like? Are you getting what I'm saying right now? Or mobile apps. You get me? There are always similar mobile apps to a particular industry. Though some mobile apps are new, but you tell them to basically list out the functionalities of those mobile apps, what the solution that they want the mobile apps to do. Now, in them telling you a story. So that's why I always tell designers that you have to learn to be conversational. A designer has to understand how to be friendly with your clients, create relationship, create conversations, basically, from your clients. Now, with this, you start picking their brains and you start picking their minds based on the various solutions that they basically want you to answer. So I believe that answered your question. So any other person, any question? Any other person, any question? All right. So let me just quickly share my screen. 1 minute. And I hope I will be able to share the, okay, let me share desktop one. All right. So can you see my screen? If you can see my screen. You can say, yep. I hope I'm sharing the right screen. Can you see my screen? All right, so you can see my screen. Oh, so basically, fortunately, this is actually my brother. So my brother reached out to me yesterday that he wants to release a new single. Yeah, and he told me that. And so the first question I asked him is that, what's okay? First, send me the song. So whenever any artist wants to release a single, I always like to hear the song. A lot of people don't know that I actually like rap. I like gospel rap, like Lecrae, T-Bone. Don't let me mention names. That kind of rap music I actually listen to. So he shared the song with me. And by the time he shared the song with me, I asked him that, okay, this song looks good, yada, yada, yada. The next thing I basically asked him is that, what approach do you want to go? He said, okay, I know what we call it Afro-futuristic. Why? Because he has other albums that he wants to release. He has an album he wants to release, just a single, because he's been a while he's released a song. And you get what I'm saying? Now, when I asked him some of those questions, as regards Afro-futuristic, I so asking some other detailed question, basically, that if it's Afrofuturistic, then he sent me pictures. You understand? So now the picture was a bad picture, and I told him, but he said he doesn't have time to take good pictures because he's going to Kenya to shoot the video, and he's also going to take photo shoot. So I went on to start brainstorming. And you get what I'm saying right now. Like I said, I'm going to try and make this as practical as possible. So I'm trying to open on my screen. Please bear with me. I have multiple screens open. I hope that I open the right one. And you guys don't see a screen they're not supposed to see. If we don't see a screen they're not supposed to see. Okay, just give a minute. All right, probably a screen that has my bank account detail or something. I'm sure some of my prototypes will see that they just buzz me after them and say, "Demola, please send money to my account." Okay, all right. Just give me a minute. All right, this is me doing research for the course. All right. Just give me a minute. I know. Okay, yeah, picture. All right. Okay. So in doing the research, and by the time you guys see my research, I just went online and I got a lot of mood boards, basically. And in those mood boards, I'm trying to see who is on. In those mood boards, I went online to do research of various Afro-futuristic. Just give me a minute. In those various mood boards, I went online to see various Afro-futuristic themes. As you can all see, I'm going to be opening more shortly. Okay, hope you can still see my screen. All right, so I just went online to various photo websites to see various Afro-futuristic designs, basically. And you can see some of the elements I basically used. Then obviously these are some of the elements that basically caught my fancy. Then I did other extensive research that's obviously I think I've closed that browser somewhere. Then after that, I sat down with various photo manipulation, and voila, I came with this, sent him this, and he loved it. Do you get what I'm saying right now? So this is me using design thinking approach to solve a particular problem yesterday, between yesterday and today. Sat down with him for like 15, 20 minutes, and we had a lot of questions. You get grueling questions. And what's the nature of your song? What's the style of your songs? Why are you creating these songs? What's the objective? He said that the last song he created was some years back, and this is a comeback for him, yada, yada, yada. So have those questions. Create a relationship with your clients. It's very, very important. I get to what I'm saying right now. Create a relationship with your clients. When you create a relationship with your clients, half of your problem is basically what's solved. This is what's very, very key. So I'll stop sharing my screen right now so that you guys don't see personal things that you're not supposed to see. So this is where we're going to be stopping this session. So please, does anybody have any other question, please, before we move to the next segment of this event? So I believe that you've all understood the basic method of design thinking. So whenever you have any design, whenever you have any brief, always ensure, me rounding up is number one, have what we call an empathy. Number two, empathy is where you understand what your user, you gather all the necessary knowledge and information that you basically need. It's very, very important. That's the first stage, which is the empathy stage. Now, the next stage is that you need to define your solution. You need to define your solution. You need to define your solution. That's very key. The third one is what we call ideate it, where you sit down based on the data you have gathered, create what we call an idea. The next one is prototyping, and the last one basically is what we call testing. The testing stage for those that are UI UX professional or website design, ensure that someone tests you test your websites personally, because there's something called responsive web design where it has to work in various devices. So test that's your UI UX on various devices. Get people to test it. Some people get companies to test it for them, or you can basically test it personally. Let people go through what we call the user's journey on your particular application, the user's journey on your particular website. If it's not intuitive enough, go back and make adjustments. Traditional approach to solving problems just has what we call a one-way approach to solving problems. But design thinking approach always go back to evaluate it and get better problems. Now, design thinking is beyond just graphic design, web design, or creative and tech. It can also be used in what we call regional planning. It can also be used in real estate planning. It can also be used in what we call various places. For example, when you look at your banking hall of probably a particular bank, and inside there's a lot of queue, what a design thinking person is doing is looking at how can we set solutions that will reduce the bottlenecks. Are you getting now? What method should we create what we call online banking, in which people don't have to come to the bank? Do you get me now? A design thinker is always thinking of solutions. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? When you're working on a particular street and in a particular location, there's always accidents in that location. A design thinker is brainstorming that what if we put a roundabout here? Wouldn't that solve a problem? What if we put this kind of traffic lights here? Do you get what I'm saying? That's the place of regional planning. That's what the design thinking is all about. So I'm saying that design thinking is beyond just design. It's all about looking at the user. When the user is using this product, how would the user use this product? Are you getting me now? Gathering as much data you have, using focus group, like I explained earlier on, using interview or survey, then with those information gathering, creating the right creative approach, alteration of approaches on how you can basically solve the problem. I believe that with this basic information I've given you, it's going to change what we call the synapses of your mind and the synaptic of your your brain, so that consciously something has been deposited in you that will change your approach of what's designing. You understand what I'm saying right now? And once you can do this, you would have what we call what less turn around in what we call what the solutions you create for your clients. Thank you very much, everybody. All right. So I really thank you so much for attending this particular session. It's great having you here. And I believe and I know that please, the next session we're going to be having is going to be next week, where we're going to be having another speaker that's going to be speaking on how to create your creative business. And after which we're going to be having one more session where we're going to be having Bolo Watife that is going to be teaching us on how to understanding what's identity design. Please don't miss it, and see you guys next week. We're going to move to the next session, which is what we call our town hall meeting, and that's going to be holding for 30 minutes. Thank you so much for viewers that are going to be watching this online. Thank you so much for watching this particular session. Hope that you've learned a lot. And my name is Demola Adeogun. Once again, I'm the founder of Ace Creative Academy and Community. Cheers.